Hi, everyone. Welcome to Motivational Moments. I really appreciate you joining in on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. I am actually sequestered in a colleague's office. I've been doing real estate this morning, had two unexpected potential clients walk in the door, but I'm here doing my Facebook Live no matter what. It's my pleasure to be here with you and for you and to explore the power of the mind, the power of the thoughts, power of our words, and how we can interact during the day to help our lives work easily. Because that's, I think, the major goal is how do we make things less stressful for ourselves? Because a lot of times we cause things to happen or we react to things that we don't necessarily always have to react to. Last week we talked about fear, and it's such a overwhelming feeling for everyone that has fear. It could be anything from the fear of spiders to the fear of making a change to fear of not having enough. There are fears all over the place. But what I have found is that most fears are caused by not having enough information to make a decision. Anytime that I am feeling fearful or questioning a decision or just feeling uneasy, I stop and I think, okay, what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I don't know the answer to? And if I could keep getting answers to questions that will make me feel comfortable in either making a change or to solving a problem, then that usually is what will work for me, is finding out what I call gain knowledge as part of my guts formula. Remember, it's the G of gaining knowledge. So find out as many answers to your questions as you can. And then you can do your pros and cons. There's one exercise that I think is very helpful. It goes into more depth than just pros and cons. And I think it's Ben Carson who developed it and has written a book about it. But there's 4 quadrants. The first is like, okay, write down all the good things about that particular decision. Then if you did it, let's say you want to change jobs, write down all the good things about this other job opportunity. What's the good that'll come out of it? Then underneath that, write out all the negative things that you can think about. What's the worst thing that could happen if I decide to do that? And write those down. And then write all the good things about a situation. Let's say, again, let's use the example about changing jobs. Okay, what are all the good things? What's the best that could happen if I stay just where I'm at? Write down all the good possibilities of that decision. What's the best that can happen staying where you're at? And then under that quadrant, you write down what are the worst things that could happen if you stayed in that particular job or position or career. If you stayed right where you are, what's the worst that can happen? And then when you look at that, you can judge in both situations, the best or the worst, staying, going. And I think that you'll be able to see things in a black and white type of way. It's not foolproof because you really do, when it's all said and done, you have to go with your gut feeling because your gut feeling really tells you your answers. Sometimes we ignore it, but it is what it is, and it is something that we can depend on. Also, I was reading in a book, it's a devotional that's called The Science of Mind. It's one of the things that I do on a daily basis. And the author was talking about how visualize your mind as like a big pool of water. Let's say it's a bowl of water. And the thoughts that we have that are going to be less positive or nervous or anxiety thoughts, those can muddy up the water. So look at that bowl and you see all that kind of yucky brown stuff. So that is kind of what our mind is doing to us, and all this second guessing and all the nervousness and all this, what ifs are in that bowl picture that in your mind, and it's kind of muddy water. So what do we do with that? Do we take the bowl and we throw it out? Well, what this author was saying is to take clean, fresh water, and pour it. Visualize yourself pouring that fresh, clean water into that bowl of murky brown water of confusion, and see that water cleansing, purifying, and dividing up that murky, confusing water so that you have more positive, clean, fresh water going in and helping to diffuse that confusion that is already in your mind. Our minds are so powerful. As you know, thoughts become things. We can manifest good or bad with the power of our thoughts. And it's so important to become an observer of your thoughts. Wayne Dyer talks about that a lot, or had when he was alive, but his books live on to eternity. He's an amazing person. I was so lucky to be on stage with him a couple of times, and I've learned a lot from him, from his books and videos and experiences that he has shared in his own life. He talks about this a lot. He talks about the power of being an observer, somebody that will, you visualize and observe your thoughts, but you're not your thoughts. You kind of look at them as an observer. You look at them as an outsider, and almost like when you have those thoughts in your mind and you're observing them, just observe them as it's not you. It's either somebody else, or it could be what one author calls it a noisy roommate. And so pretend it's your roommate that's in your mind, and your roommate's saying, why am I doing this? Why do I want to make a change? Why am I so unhappy? Why am I nervous about this? Why don't I have enough money? That chatter that goes on and on and on. But if you are just an observer, and that you are observing that noisy roommate, you can shut that noisy roommate up really quick. Or you could just listen, sit on the couch, have some popcorn, and listen to your noisy roommate go on and on and on about all the things that are wrong in the world. And you can go, yeah, okay, I see that. But you don't have to engage. You don't have to agree. But the cool thing is you kind of get it out of your system. And that way you're not participating in the chatter that is less positive. But it's also kind of important to hear that chatter, because you are trying to process things. We're all trying to process things on a daily basis. So not necessarily you have to ignore it, but you have to put it in its perfect place. And if you can do that, and you can become an observer, and you can also read the signs that we get from the universe or God or whoever you believe is a higher power. They're called God winks, and there's a wonderful book of that same title called God winks. There's so many coincidences that happen on a daily basis. Just look out for those. See what you're observing. See what's happening. What person has called you out of the blue? What business situation has presented itself to you to decide whether you want to move forward with that particular, either a job or a client or an opportunity in one way, shape, or form. And just kind of see what comes up for you. I feel like most of us, including me, we try to really control everything in our lives. It has to be this way. Or I set a goal. That goal has to happen because I put it down as a goal. It must be true. I wrote it down. I visualized it. But you got to leave yourself open to reading the signs, getting those God winks during the day, those signs, those signals, and they can be as small or as big as can be. But they're all signs that can lead us on our path to less stress and to more productive lives, to be happier, and to be able to control our thoughts on a regular basis. So I hope these tips help you today. And as you move forward in your life, I wish you all the best. The weather's getting better. Life is good. Spring is right around the corner. And I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.